Hi, Sarah here with a layout process video. I'm using the Alex paper pad by Bella Boulevard, also the puffy stickers and these cute little summary stickers. There was a quick flip through of that paper pad. Now I received these in the post from Sarah from Lottie Loves Paper and For the Love of Pretty Paper. I'll be leaving links below so you can go and check her groups out on Facebook. And I had won these in a prize for the 5 sketch challenge. Each sketch you entered, you were entered, it was one place in the prize draw, and I got randomly chosen. So I had these through the post, and so I decided to do a nice boyish layout with my little boy playing in the park. And the jacket he's wearing goes really well with the Alex paper pad because it is all boy colours, lots of blues and oranges and just generally very boyish colours rather than lots of pink and teal. So I've trimmed my photos down to 3.5 by 3.5. I'm following the Let's Get Sketchy sketch one for July for this one, and I'm just deciding what order I want to put them in. Now the sketch challenge is open again now, so this time it's a 6 sketch challenge. You can find it on, I'm not sure if it's either on Lottie Loves Paper or For the Love of Pretty Paper. I'll be linking both of them anyway, and there'll be 6 sketches for you to choose from, and you can do all of them or just one of them, but each time you enter the challenge you get a place in the prize draw, and it's, I think you're only allowed to enter one per sketch, so probably worth doing if you fancy winning something lovely from Lottie Loves Paper. Okay, so here I am grabbing some different papers from the pad. I wanted to find one that I felt would pop off nicely from that main pattern paper that I'd chosen with lots of colours on it as my main focal paper behind my photos. So I'm trimming these down to border my photos to help them pop off the background away from the rest of the papers. And on the back of each of these pattern papers there is a plain version which obviously works perfectly with them. And so I am just gluing them all down now, and then I'll take the papers that I've chosen and choose which I think will layer nicely behind the original pattern paper that I chose as my main one. So once I've done this, I'll decide on how I want to arrange my photos. I quite like to just put a small cross of adhesive on my photos so that I can then slide them together so that they can be grouped without the actual colour of the matting going over each photo. And at this point I'm still thinking of doing a bit of a cluster rather than a straight line, but I do end up just doing the 3 photos nicely in a straight line because I just decide it looks best like that anyway. So that's how I decide to place them. I really wanted to use the tire one in the centre because I think it gives a better focal point than either of the other 2. So here I'm just adding some blue papers behind my first layer, and then each time I add a paper I'm going to mirror the top and the bottom of the page so that they go well together. I don't usually do this part of the video quite so slow, but I thought I'd do a bit more of a detailed look at how I do my clustering, even though it is quite a long process. I know some people just seem to be able to throw them together really quickly, but I'm not one of them. So here I'm just adding in those cute that cute grey paper with black arrows on it so that the arrows point in towards each other, and then I'll add some more pattern paper underneath. I've got that cute one there with lots of words on it. I fancy putting a bit of black in there because it goes with the title that I've chosen, and also there black elements within the photographs here and there as well, and it's nice and bold. And I wanted, even though I'm adding lots of pieces of paper, I wanted to make sure that the overall effect was quite a solid look to it. So I want all the papers to be fairly close together and no just strips hanging off the edge. So that's why I've added extra paper in there. And then also I wanted to add a bit more of a pop of colour. I feel like it's lacking the orange and yellowy tones that are in the main colourful paper. So I also cut down a strip of spotty yellow paper with orange spots on it, and I add that in behind them back as well, because there is a bit of a gap as well where the paper stops, so that gives a sharper edge down each side. So that is pretty much all I am doing at the moment for this, and it is taking me a while. So once I have got my paper cluster glued together, I sometimes like to create my cluster first and then do my background, because quite often I'll do my background, then add my paper cluster, and then there's hardly any background left because it's all hidden. So this time round, it depends. I sometimes do it one way, some the other, but this time round I decided that I would make my cluster first and then work on my background afterwards. So what I do is I take a pencil and I just draw a vague sort of line around where my paper cluster will be, so that then I'm not wasting any ink when I do apply my mixed media to the background, which I definitely will be doing as usual. So I'm just using my mat here to make sure I get a nice straight edge there on both sides there with that yellow with orange spots paper there, and then that gives a nice finish to the edges off that paper cluster, gives them a sharper edge. I'm just trimming off a little bit that was hanging over the edge that I wasn't keen on. So there I go, lining it up, and here I'm just taking some thickers there by I think Crepe Paper Cool Kit, and there's a few titles in amongst them, and I chose Explore because they go really well with this paper collection, and I already had them in my stash. And I also use a few of the embellishments from that collection too. Here I've got this really large circled bubble wrap. The bubbles on it are quite big, so I decide I want to kind of mirror the tire a little bit. I wanted to add some grungy sort of texture, and I felt like black went really well with the middle tire picture. So here I've just taken my bubble wrap, sprayed on some Dylusions ink spray, which is black marble, and then I just press it onto some cardstock. There you just saw me grab a scrap just to check I had the right amount of ink so that it wasn't too runny or not enough saturation to it. So now I'm doing it actually on my page, and of course I'm now covered in black ink, and I've scrubbed my hands so many times and there's still black ink on them days later. I don't know why, it just won't come off, that stuff. So here now I've got my background ready, but I've gone and put the ink where my title's going to be, so I end up flipping my layout round so that the Explore title's not drowned behind in front of the mixed media, so it doesn't sort of blend in. So now I'm happy with my placement of everything. I finally stick down my main paper cluster and the Explore, and here I'm adding my puffy heart stickers. On the sketch fur that I used for this one, there's embellishments on either side, below, up and above and below the photo cluster, so that's why I've done that there. I had a little sun in there because it was a sunny day. I had a little sand castle because the ground is sort of that wood chippy stuff, and I just felt like it kind of went with it. And he's also running up and down forts and different things in the play area there. I had that little hey buddy, that's also from the Create Paper Cool Kid, as are these tiny word stickers and that little banner. And I decided to stick the tiny word stickers over the top of my mixed media. I quite like how that looks with the black on black, so that they're there but they're not too in your face. I had a few stars here because that photo did have quite a large gap on that side, so I decided to just embellish that edge so that it blends in better. And then I just took under my little label tag for a small amount of journaling and my date stamp. And now I'm just adding some black ink splatters over the top of my mixed media, and then I also take out my Heidi Swap Colour Shine in mustard and add that in as well, just for an extra pop of colour at the top and the bottom of the layout. And I believe that's it done. So thanks for joining me today. Let me know what you think about having a slower bit to the video showing my process of doing my paper layering, and whether you think it's boring or I should keep it in. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. If you'd like to see more from me, please like and subscribe, and check out Lottie Loves Paper and For the Love of Pretty Paper on Facebook. There'll be links below. Bye!